you gotta have that character that is that core character who everyone can lean on, and you build from there.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Point 3 podcast. We are your favorite trio of hosts. To my right on the screen is Spider Bat Brando. Below, Funkaloo, myself, Hero Scroll. If this is your first time with us, welcome. If it is not, welcome back. Please subscribe, follow us on our social medias. But, gentlemen, we have a little bit of a semi-special episode, I would say. We definitely have a fun announcement towards the end of the video, so stay tuned to that. But as you can see by the title of this video, there's a battle going on for brand supremacy, you can say, and it's already started. It's begun. And it kind of, battle one culminates in July of next year. What are we talking about? That's the MCU versus the DCU, specifically Fantastic Four versus Superman No Legacy.
I like that.
It's true. Gentlemen, and Funko Lou, I'll kick this off to you. How are you feeling with this battle going on? We've kind of talked about it in other lives, but is this actually something that is going on and that people should kind of be paying attention to?
Yeah, man. Listen, for everyone who's kind of been following along with us, we've done the news, we have the sections, and it feels like week after week after week, the DCU section is growing larger and larger, and we as a collective group at the Point 3 podcast are getting more and more excited about the DCU. And again, we are in March at the time of this recording, and the DCEU finished with Aquaman 2. 2023 was, kind of the fall of the DCEU, and people are like, it's going to take, maybe in 5 years they're going to recover, maybe in the next decade, blah, 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 blah. And on the heels of, a year plus of the DCU announcement with James Gunn and Peter Safran, the DCU is already kind of putting itself in a position to where it is a few moments away, a few reveals away, a few character casting, writing, script reveals away from feeling like something bigger. And at the same time, we have the MCU that's trying to reestablish its identity and recapture what made live action superhero genre great during phase 3, the end of the Infinity Saga. So you have two juggernauts really kind of putting themselves in a position for a show me moment in 2025 of where the old dog that still has the trick, and here's a new dog that knows all the tricks type of thing. And they're coming at this cinematic universe piece in a very interesting and unique way. And yeah, we're going to get into it, but it's definitely a nice organic bubbling right now in the volcano that is live action superhero genre.
Yeah, very well said. And Spider Brando, I'll ask this one to you. Both of these projects are incredibly important for very similar and different reasons, right? And we kind of joked about it before we started recording, but we put it in our in our background colors: blue for DC, red for Marvel. Do you have one that you're particularly more excited for as of right now, time of recording?
Just for clarification purposes, just talking overall MCU DCU and not just like Fantastic Four through Superman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. DCU. Whew. I'm more excited for that. As not lifelong, but a long time MCU fan, it's been great. I'm liking what they're going to do. We got this big gap here this year with only Deadpool 3 and a couple other projects on the TV side, animated side, here or there. But from what James Gunn has been tweeting, threading, just posting, giving us glimpses inside the DCU and its origin, it's got me so excited. Like, we kind of have a gist of where it's gonna go, and where he's been getting inspiration from, and he's been providing great updates on timelines on stuff. So Gunn has been killing it in generating the hype for the DCU, and I am all aboard that hype train, especially with this bad boy that I've been loving still. Talked about it a couple episodes ago, but whew, great book so far.
It feels like there's a love right now for the DC universe that there isn't for Marvel. And I think that comes from both internally in terms of like people working on these films, and then also from fans as well. Because I'm seeing a lot more people on TikTok, on Instagram, talk about the DCU, including us, really, where Lou, as you said, the news just keeps kind of most weeks, I would dare say, there's more DC news and rumors than there are Marvel things. And there's more official DC news versus Marvel news. And coming from, like Spider Brando said, James Gunn himself.
I was going to say that. You stole my words. No, I'm kidding. But I did chime my hand up a little bit. It's disregard now, because I was going to say the credible sources part. Or just add into it.
But to that credible sources point, though, Spider-Man, how do you feel knowing that these are confirmed sources for a new cinematic universe versus the existing cinematic universe, where it's all second or third hand information that's being jumbled around, and then you have the boss of bosses saying like, hey, we're going to scale back. I don't know what we're going to do. This is canceled. This isn't. And we just don't know. And then James Gunn on the flip side, reports come out of, hey, this is canceled. Hey, this is changing. He's like, hey, that's not true. This is actually what's happening. Hey, guess what? We're actually starting the film. No, it didn't get pushed back. We've actually been here for the last week. You guys just missed it. How do you feel about that brand transparency today, and how has it really helped you kind of shape out your expectations for this time next year, kind of 2025 Spider-Bat Brando birthday time?
Well, one, I'm happy that I've conditioned you guys to just both equate July and DCU versus MCU to my birthday time. But two, like I said before, James Gunn setting the record straight is what gets me excited, because who's to say that all these second, third party sources are like we're just gonna feed into that and then be like, oh my god, I can't wait for this to happen, when it's likely not gonna happen unless it's from Daniel RPK, our best friend.
Best friend. We love you, bestie.
Yeah.
But most of his stuff comes true. But lost my train of thought for a little bit. I'd rather know that like what James Gunn says is gonna go. Like, he's writing scripts, he's directing. He's not like, not only is he just like being the co-creator of this DCU, he's out there writing scripts, directing, like producing. I don't think Feige is actually writing, directing, or any of that. Just
Not
producing.
anymore.
And we haven't even heard a single word from him on like anything besides that one award show he had with a little Deadpool and Wolverine hat before that got officially announced. But like, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of stuff open in the air with Marvel right now. Too much news to keep up with at times. That's like, what's even worth freaking
That's
actually,
the key,
like,
right
keeping
there.
up with.
Yeah.
Is the Marvel news worth it? The DC, ooh, I was about to make a no. The DCU news is worth it. Hey, here's an update on Peacemaker. Here's an update on season 1. Here's an update on season 2. Here's an update on Waller. Here's an update on Supergirl. Here's Creature Commandos. Here's the casting. Here's the suit. All of these things are very purposeful. But when we get news of like sources say that Lindsay Lohan is cast for a undisclosed role in the future of the MCU, okay. But that's like I'm that's supposed to pump me up about the MCU when there are so many other overinflated issues that are going on that have yet to be solved.
Yeah.
And I think that's where my big issue comes in is they're a big balloon trying to scale down, where DCU doesn't feel like they're trying to be a massive balloon from the very start. That's the difference. And I think people confuse that to be like, they're just trying to be the MCU. I don't feel that personally.
No, it feels like they're trying to be their own thing. And to that point about the MCU trying to deflate, the problem with the deflation of it is who it's also coming from. And it's coming from, yes, insert booze here, Bob Iger. And we've talked about it in the news when he comes out and he says some of these things and he's like, yeah, we're cutting back on projects. Yes, Bob, we know that. And in reality, who knows what we've lost already?
Yeah.
Because of their plan. And some of it, I'm almost certain, is stuff that's already been announced. And it's going to hurt when it officially comes out, when this kind of news and information should have been brought to us a year ago, I would say, at this point.
Or when some of these projects that should have even been in development in the first place.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we're gonna dive into it deeper and stick with us till the end because we're gonna have our announcement. But a lot of you who are listening to this, you're familiar with the blunders that occurred with DC Warner Brothers during the rise of the DCEU pre Justice League, and how ambitious the executives at Warner Brothers were, how disconnected they were with fans, how quick they were to try and. Some people say they were never competing with the MCU. That's garbage. They were making the money. Why make all these movies and announce all that if the goal is not to be top dog? Right. So at this point, the MCU, we don't hear, we see Feige, we don't hear Feige. And as president of Marvel Studios, on the flip side, and your counterpart on the other team, both of them, heads of DC Studios, they're in the front lines. And the big difference that I hear a lot of people say is, well, that's not how they used to do it. Understood. Like, I get that, right? This isn't the golden age of Marvel was pre-COVID, but that was, we didn't have the abundance of TikTok. Instagram wasn't what it is today. Not everyone had a YouTube channel. It was just different, you know? And although Gunn's always been that social media guy from Facebook to Twitter, and it got him into a mess, and he kind of, and that's how we hear a lot of things. He speaks to the fans. And I think that doesn't matter, right? You can't stop communicating with the fans just because it's not the cool thing to do because MCU's not doing it. He's sticking to it, and that's part of his brand. And he's taking the good elements of that and latching onto the DCU, which has only been a plus. To think one of us or one of you guys watching can go on Threads and say, hey, at James Gunn, what's the script looking like for Superman? He responds and he's like, here's a photo that says Superman Legacy. It's done. Like, people run in the streets and they're like, no way.
That's huge. That's huge. It's such a big leap for them and something that they have over Marvel. And I think that they are going to continue to have over Marvel for the rest of James Gunn tenure as the leader over, or co-leader over at DCU. But something we were kind of talking about in Discord and other lives, and before this can be the last question before we make our fun little announcement. What is it that you guys want out of both the MCU and the DCU to really make this battle fun for both sides. Because right now it really seems like Marvel's on the ropes. And to be honest, they're not, right? They are a little staggered, but that's also because of a lot of other things that have been going on, a lot of real life things, and just the landscape of movies in general. But when the DCU enters the ring officially next July, that's when it's going to happen. So, what do you guys want out of both Marvel and DC?
Real quick to that point, because I think this is something people forget. And you said it perfectly of when we have this visualization of this boxing match, right? You think it's one person in a corner with gloves and shorts and that, and the other person has the same outfit, it's just a different color, right? And DCU came and just knocked Marvel out. And they're on the ground and the refs counting the 6, 7, 8. And you look at them and they're just bare, right? They have the gloves and all that kind of stuff. But when you look at it from another perspective and then you look back at Marvel, take 50 pounds of weight and put it on their back. Give them weighted boots and weighted gloves and weighted trunks and all of these things. And it's a completely different look when you break the MCU down of all the things that have come post Endgame. So it's not as straightforward as like, here's a blank canvas, here's a blank canvas. Which one has a better group of people that are going to get them to the finish line? It's different, right?
Yeah.
However, the title of this, Battle for the Live Action Superhero Genre, it's beginning. It needs to feel, and we've said this, super. And right now, one of them doesn't feel super, and the other one is leading with super. And that's what both of them need to feel at the same time, which should line up with 2025 in July. They need to feel larger than life in a true super production that makes you just wow. That's my want. I want to get into August and be like, oh my gosh, like I will never see what I just saw ever again.
I don't even know what to say after all that. That was beautiful.
Thanks for my inspiration.
Oh, I want the DCU to feel like there's hope coming from it, and that there's like a hope into its continuation to a chapter 2, and hopefully they get to like a end game where the DC's like Crisis on Infinite Earths level event, to where it'll have like a 20, like 10, 15 year, 18 year, whatever the Avengers 1 or Iron Man 1 to Endgame was, like payoff and longevity of the DCU.
Mhm.
And then on the MCU side, just more answers from like where the direction of their storytelling is going, and a reboot, or just
Yeah.
some type of feeling of closure. Because now that we're on, like, the DCU is great for its new beginnings and like the feeling of hope for its future. Whereas the MCU to me, and when I had seen Dune 2 with a lot of my friends, our car ride was pretty much of just like them saying how they're just so uninterested in Marvel and it's just been dragging on for way too long. And they can't keep everybody's interest gauged for years and years and years with the same story, same formula. So having some form of hope for Marvel to do a little reset or announce like a new MCU would be pretty awesome. Just to get some awareness, or not awareness, just to get some like super feeling to it.
Yeah, some interest back into
Yeah.
yeah. I agree with both your guys' points. I think both need to feel super. I think both need to make sure they keep people's interest, and I think the absolute best way to do that, and I think DC is trying to keep that in mind, and Marvel we'll get there after a bit of a bumpy road. And I think 2024 is that little bit of a bumpy road where
Mhm.
it's less filler, more killer, where
Ooh.
every movie feels like an event. And that's how it feels for DC, the DCU right now, where every movie feels like it's going to have a purpose and it's a must watch. Where
Yeah.
as of right now, Marvel's kind of like in between that. But this year, with them only releasing Deadpool, really immediately, not only because it's another Deadpool and has Hugh Jackman, but it makes it like you have to watch it now. And
Mhm.
then next year, hopefully, with the marketing behind Captain America and everything else that's coming out, hopefully those also feel like things that we need to watch and not something. And I hate to use this particular movie as an example of that, but the Marvels, where it feels like if you're not really too much of a hardcore fan of Marvel, you can kind of just skip it. And in certain ways, that it is kind of true, unfortunately. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed it, but it's ultimately skippable in the grand scheme of things
Yeah.
because all you really need is the post credit scene. So I think both companies need to remember that people now more than ever are super super conservative with their time, and reasonably so. People work,
Yeah.
people have families and do other things. So dedicating 2 hours out of their weekend is a lot. Is a lot. So make sure that it's giving us something to be excited for and need
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah. Only other point I'll add to that, because I think it kind of goes in a lot of different directions, but they all kind of core comes back to what we were mentioning, right? But from a character standpoint, whoever they choose, whoever they cast, whoever they decide to put as the face of each of these, they have to be polarizing and very captivating characters like Iron Man was, right? When you knew Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, Iron Man, regardless of whatever capacity he was going to be in, when he was on screen, no phones, people are watching, all eyes are on the screen. You need to know what he does and you watch his every step and move. They don't have that right now. There is not one character that I could truthfully say that you can think of and be like, that's the guy who's on screen. It should have been Thor. It's not Thor, right? And it's most likely going to be Superman because he's going to be that influential character that's going to affect every region of your cinematic universe. You got to have that character that is that core character who everyone can lean on and you build from there. That being said, where do we see, if you go back and listen to all of our lives, look at our videos, right now it's street level. Spider-Man, Daredevil, those grounded types of characters are the characters the MCU should just push to the moon. And the DCU can play in its space. And when you have street grounded level MCU and cosmic grounded DCU, everyone's going to relate to it. It's going to look fantastic. The stories are going to be great. And we're going to have two congruent running parallel stories that are just mind blowing every other few months with some crappy Sony sprinkled in between to be like, whoa, like this is fantastic.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. Next year is going to be fun. And for those that are hearing this and thinking that you have to pick a side, you don't. That's the wonderful thing, is that
No.
as the enjoyers of this, we get to pick both sides and enjoy both and be like, wow, this was great. Wow, that was great. Or that wasn't that good. Or, maybe this wasn't, could have been better. That's the wonderful thing. You don't have to pick a side. You can just enjoy it. Enjoy the ride, honestly, because as much as it does suck to kind of be a part of social media discourse at times where it's like, oh, DC's better, oh, Marvel's better. At the same time, it's not, because you have spaces like ours where
Mm-hmm.
we can talk about this, we can love both, and we can critique both at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a space. There's a space for both. So, do we want to give all 0.3 people kind of what's going on here over the course of the next 12 plus months?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah, for sure. So, our kind of big announcement that we've been working on it for a little bit. We behind the scenes for 2-3 months, I want to say, gathering every news bit that we can find, every casting stuff in regards to this, preparing as we see with Spider Brando's All-Star Superman reading. We are going to run side by side two series on the channel. One is called The Road to Superman, and the other one will be called Road to Fantastic Four. Now, these series are going to be kind of about everything, right? We're just going to get excited, get excited for these projects through various means. This includes tier lists. This includes older movie reviews. This includes series reviews, the old cartoons, animations, comic book stories, maybe even some toys every now and then. But we're going to be covering everything that we can for both projects, right? Both official and just unofficial, to just kind of get our excitement up and to share that information with you guys, because having the knowledge of the character is something that a lot of people, especially nowadays, put a lot of importance on. That they're like, oh, if you don't read the book, then you can't be a fan. Well, that's why you have 0.3 podcasts. We'll be reading for you. We'll be explaining all the stories. We'll be explaining and ranking the tier list. So, join us, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Super fun. Super fun. Lots of hope, baby. Lots of hope.
Potential Superman and Fantastic Four watch parties in our Discord as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though no one's going to want to watch Fan-Four-tastic.
we will watch it to rag on it.
But fun fact, I've actually never seen it.
Good.
that actually is good.
That's a good thing.
Spider Brando's one positive thing from the movie. See if you can find one.
A lot of stuff I haven't seen, but oh god.
Yeah, no. But if you guys want to be like a heavy part of this, like we said, make sure you subscribe to us here, because this is where a lot of it's going to be taking place. But also join our Discord. We have a lot of great conversations over there, debates, everything in between. We talk this on a daily. And as we get closer and closer to July of 2025, this is going to be on your notification list every single day. So you don't want to miss out. That's for sure.
No. But listen, everyone, until next time, 3 things that you have to keep doing that we always say here at the 0.3 podcast. And just like Hero Scroll said, something that we absolutely are going to be doing ourselves. And that is to keep watching, to keep reading, and to keep nerding out. We'll see you Wednesday for our live stream, 9:05 Eastern. Take care.